Hello, everyone. This is Devin Thorpe for the Crowdfund Beat, and we are making a little bit of history today as we visit with Elizabeth Hill, a woman from Canada who is apparently the first person in Canada to make a crowdfund investment, something that is still illegal for most of the people in the United States as well. So this is a historic moment in time. We're also joined by Sandy Gilbert, who is the founder and CEO of SeedUps, which is the platform that Elizabeth used to invest. Elizabeth and Sandy, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi, Devin.
Thank you for having me.
We're really glad to have you. Elizabeth, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about your experience. Tell us the story of how you made your first crowdfund investment.
Well, the company I did invest with, I actually heard about a year ago, last June, and I was really interested in the company and what it had to offer. Basically, we fast forward a year, and then I find out this is an opportunity that we can invest in this company. So I looked into it further, and it came up on my news feed in Facebook. It was the same week that I had a frustrating phone call with my investment advisor at the bank, so it was perfect timing for me. And when I saw this opportunity, I wanted to learn more. So basically, I went to seedups.ca, and I checked it out. So basically you can see the company information, you can see some financial information, you can ask questions to the CEO, Roger. Everything's right in front of you and you can make your own decision. I decided that, yeah, I want to be a part of this, and I already was excited about it a year ago, so it was definitely something that I'm happy to be a part of and invested. The website was really easy to use, and I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Well, tell us a little bit about the company you invested in.
It's Go Jump On. So basically, this is an airline company that's taking advantage of their of planes that are idling from Friday to Sunday. So it's able to offer flights at an affordable price in those peak times that we'd love to fly when we're working full time, 40 hours a week. We can go away Friday, come back Sunday, go to Phoenix, Las Vegas, Kelowna, wherever we want to go.
That's so fun.
It's a great opportunity, and I'm really excited.
Have you done any trips with the company yet?
I haven't, but the really cool thing is when you do invest, you also get a credit for a flight, $500 flight credit. So that's an awesome. I've got a flight waiting for me.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Sandy, you've made a little history here in Canada, but help us put this into context. Why do you think that Elizabeth is the first person to make a crowdfund investment in Canada that's an ordinary investor, not an accredited investor?
Right. That's really the distinction, is the ordinary investor. And why that's possible in Canada is because we have an offering memorandum exemption that allows companies to raise capital from ordinary investors if they provide the appropriate disclosure document and financial statements that comply with what the regulators are looking for here for this prospectus exemption we have in Canada. So as an ordinary investor, you can invest in a company that has an offering memorandum exemption, and this is the first time that it's ever been done on an online platform. So the point of SeedUps Canada was to open up and broaden the distribution and the reach of those people trying to raise small amounts of capital, a few $1,000s at a time.
Yeah, so how much money did Go Jump On raise?
The offering is still open, so they're still in offering now. We have not done our first close, but we're somewhere around $80,000 to $100,000, I think, today. It is a $500,000 offering. It's been up now for a month, so we know that Roger's reaching out to other media outlets now with some new news that's going on in Jump On, so we hope to see some activity on it soon. Great.
So, Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about how much did you decide to invest? I hate to be impertinent, but I want people to, if you're willing to share, I want people to understand the scale of your investment and how you approached it.
I invested $2,000, which is the maximum that you're able to as an ordinary investor. I probably would have invested more if those limits were increased, but for now, $2,000. which, like I said again, you get the $500 credit towards a flight. So it seems like a good idea.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more, Sandy, about this offering exemption. What do you call it? The offering memorandum exemption?
Right. So the offering memorandum exemption, as I said, allows you to raise capital from the retail public. But the offering that Elizabeth invested through is actually a blanket order, a special offering memorandum that allows a company to raise up to $500,000 and relieves them of the requirement to have audited financial statements. And as a result of that disclosure level, the regulators have capped the investment at $2,000 per regular investor. Obviously, an accredited investor can invest as much as they want through the accredited investor exemption, but in this, the maximum is $2,000 per ordinary investor.
So you'll need about 250 investors at least to get there under if you have only ordinary investors. Is that right?
That's right. Now, obviously, in these raises, you hope to use both of the exemptions simultaneously so that you can actually concurrently raise capital, and it isn't done at $2,000 at a time. But certainly, 250 investors could invest $2,000.
And if you're running concurrent offerings, are they required or at least allowed to sell the same security to both groups of people?
Yes, it's the same security. It is done under the accredited investor exemption, but that's obviously only when there's accredited investors. Sure. And this offering has had accredited investors in it.
Now, I'm familiar with the rules for being an accredited investor in the United States. What are the rules in Canada?
The rules are identical. It's the same income test and the same asset test for an accredited investor. We also have in Canada what's called an eligible investor. So for those issuers that are raising capital under the traditional OM that requires audited financial statements, we have an eligible investor test, which is $75,000 a year in income and $400,000 in assets. So it's kind of a midterm eligible investor. And I do want to say that I'm currently in Toronto at a conference that's talking about Ontario bringing in the offering memorandum exemption, which at this point is not available in this province. And we are talking about certain caps on that eligible investment level as well. So it's out for comment till June 20th or June 18th, and there's lots of proposals on the table.
Now, Canada is different than the U.S. in one major regard.
You got it.
And that is that there is no federal Securities and Exchange mechanism, right? There's no securities law at the federal level. Is that right?
That's correct. Each province controls their own regulations. In some cases, they're harmonized. For example, the accredited investor offering or exemption is harmonized across the jurisdictions, but most have slight differences based on the jurisdiction that you're raising capital in.
Oh. So Go Jump On issued in Calgary in the province of Alberta.
That's correct. And we ourselves are registered in 4 jurisdictions, so you can do it through accredited investor raises in the other jurisdictions. But for the ordinary investor, Alberta is the only jurisdiction that has it.
I see, only Alberta. So how many people live in the province of Alberta? Do you know?
That's a good question. I was just working on that on the plane, actually. I think it's about 3 million, but I meant to look it up and I haven't yet, but it's around 3 million. We have 33 million.
About the same size in population as the state of Utah, where I happen.
Yeah, and about the same. We've got lots of cows and lots of cattlemen.
That's right. It is interesting. The Rocky Mountains that extend all the way from Calgary to Salt Lake City and beyond actually help to create a shared culture. So even though we're 1,000 miles apart, we actually are part of, in some ways, the same community.
I often say that, North America was split the wrong direction. It should have been split east-west instead of north-south, because I think there's lots of similarities from coast to coast.
Sure there are. There sure are. Well, I really appreciate both of you taking the time to join us today to talk about this. It's exciting. In the United States, crowdfunding is not legal federally. There are a few states where crowdfunding is legal on a state-by-state basis. So I think there have been 1 or 2, at least, offerings completed in Georgia and 1 or 2 other states. But It is exciting to mark the first Canadian crowdfunding transaction to have completed, and really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I know there are a lot of jealous Americans who are still waiting for their opportunity to invest in companies like you've been able to do, Elizabeth. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having us, Devin.
We wish you every success. Now, Sandy, tell us a little bit about how people can learn more about Seed Ups and Go Jump On.
So Seed Ups can be found at seedups.ca, so it's seedups.ca. And Go Jump On is called Jump On Flyways. Their corporate name is, but gojumpon.com. And you can learn lots about each company from those platforms.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Sandy. And again, thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Ciao.
All righty, let's do some good.